Well, good morning, students. I welcome you to the online class. Possibly today is 1st September. Dear students, I have already told you that our course has been reduced, our course has been minimized, right? So, there are 3 poem topics, 3 story topics and 3 prose topics in the course. So far as book 2 is concerned, in non-Indian study book 2, we have completed Dr. Sword, Mystery of the Missing Cave. There is another topic, Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish, which has not yet been started. We have to start that. We have to complete that. These 3 topics are in our course. Dr. Sword, Mystery of the Missing Cave and Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish. These 3 are in their course. So far as prose is concerned, prose, 3 topics are there. One is the portrait of a lady. Second one is my greatest Olympic prize. And the third one, on examinations. Yes, these 3 topics are there. Possibly, it can touch on the portrait of a lady. No, what I mean. Portrait of a lady. On examinations, supposed to be change. Book 1 and 2. Book 1 and 2. The movie part. Then after story को तो चाहिए रहा. Prose के तो आधो की चीज़ है. My latest Olympic prize आप पढ़ेंगे. The portrait of a lady. तो ऐसे कुछ है. Sorry, dear students, let us start today a prose topic because we have not started any prose topic. Yes, so there is a simple prose topic in your course, the portrait of a lady. Yes, the portrait of a lady. That topic was in your high school course also. That was in your high school course. So that will be easy for you. Let us start that topic. The portrait of a lady. So this prose topic, the is na A. The portrait of a lady. The portrait of a lady. See, this topic was, it is as good as a story. It is as good as a story, and the topic was in your school course, possibly 9. The topic was there. This topic is written by an Indian writer, Indo-Indian writer, Indian writer writing in English, a Punjabi writer, Khuswant Singh. Yes, Khuswant Singh. His writings are very simple but very interesting, easy to understand. And this topic, the portrait of a lady, एक नारीर चित्रपट, एक नारीर कथा छुपाउछि. The portrait, the picture, the description about a lady, and who is that lady? That lady is not any other film star, not a woman from a film background, film industry, but the grandmother of Khuswant Singh. Here, the writer Khuswant Singh speaks of his grandmother. When he speaks of his grandmother, automatically we come to know something about his grandfather. When he speaks about his grandmother, we come to know about his grandfather. And the childhood life of Khuswant Singh with his grandmother. This grandmother was a very wonderful lady. This grandmother was very sympathetic, very kind-hearted. She had developed relationship with the world of birds. प्रकृति दुनिया पक्षी मान सहित केमती संपर्क बांधिला सेटा भी देखिबा. That can be understood here. One of the very interesting topic, right? So please wait. Not a very big topic. The small 3 units are there, but second unit is important. Second unit maybe questions माने सेटा सब समय में important दिए परीक्षा से पढ़े. Second unit टा देखो से यूनिट को बेस करके तार पर देखो 5टा क्वेश्चन 5 questions are there. Yes, so that topic, that unit is important. See, let us start the topic today. My grandmother. So it is good as an autobiography. Here Khuswant Singh speaking of himself, his grandmother, his grandfather. Yes, so the topic begins with my grandmother, autobiographical style, right? My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. ମୋ ଜେଜେମା ସବୁ ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କ ଜେଜେମା ପରି ବୁଢ଼ୀଟା. କାହାର ଜେଜେମା ମାନେ young ହେଇନଥିବ, right? So my grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. She had been old and wrinkled for the 20 years that I had known her. What is the present age of the writer?
20 years.
20. ବୁଝିଲେ? ସେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଆଜି 20 ବର୍ଷ ହେଲାଣି the old lady had been old and wrinkled. ଚର୍ମ କୁଞ୍ଚ ହେଇଯାଇଛି ହେଲା. There is wrinkles on the skin. So she had been old and wrinkled for 20 years that I had known her. ଆଜି 20 ବର୍ଷ ହେଲାଣି ଯେବେଠୁ ମୁଁ ବୁଢ଼ୀକୁ ଦେଖୁଛି ଜାଣୁଛି. Same. She is in the same stage. People said that she had once been young and pretty. People said that this lady had once been young and pretty. The lady was once she was young and she was lovely, pretty, attractive. Right? There is a difference between beautiful and pretty. A lady who is pretty may not be beautiful but attractive. A lady, she is very pretty. What does it mean? It means she may not be very beautiful to look at, but she attracts the eyes of others. In that sense, she is pretty. So that lady was pretty and had even had a husband. ଲୋକମାନେ କହୁଥିଲେ ସେ କାଳେ ସୁନ୍ଦରୀ ଥିଲା, ୟଙ୍ଗ ଥିଲା ଆଉ ତାର ଗୋଟେ ସ୍ୱାମୀ ଥିଲା. ये ରାଇଟର କହୁଛି ତ ଯେହେତୁ ଇଏ ତାକୁ ଦେଖିନି, ତାର ୟଙ୍ଗ ଏଜ୍ ଟା ଦେଖିନି, our writer Khuswant Singh had not seen the young age of this lady. ତେଣୁ ସେ ବିଶ୍ୱାସ କଲା ଇଏ ଗୋଟେ ପୁଣି ସୁନ୍ଦରୀ ଥିବ, ପୁଣି ୟାକୁ ଗୋଟେ ହଜବେଣ୍ଡ ଥିବ, ୟାକୁ ଗୋଟେ କେହି ପୁରୁଷ ଗ୍ରହଣ କରିଦେଉଛି. Right? People said that she had once been young and pretty and had even had a husband. But that was hard to him. That was hard to believe. That was very difficult to believe. ये तो क्या विश्वास करी पारुनी लोक कहते ना ये कौन योग थी मुझे तो देखुची कोड़े सारा अरे से चाहिए तार तो युवती अवस्था थी बना नहीं. But this boy, this Khuswant Singh had not seen the childhood age, the young age of this lady, so it was very difficult for him to believe this statement. My grandfather's portrait, my grandfather's portrait, grandfather's portrait hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. Drawing room, no? Window space, it was hung, right? The photograph, the portrait of my grandfather was hung there in the drawing room. He wore a big turban. Which is Papa. He always wore past tense. Vidhiman. He wore a big turban. Pagudi में है ना he पंजाबी लोग पगड़ी लगाते हैं पगड़ी. He wore a big turban and loose fitting clothes. ଫଟୋରେ ଦେଖାଯାଉଛି ବଡ଼ ପଗୁଡ଼ି ଆଉ ଲୁଜ୍ ଫିଟିଂ କ୍ଲୋଥ୍ସ ଏଗୁଡ଼ା ସବୁ ଲୁଙ୍ଗି ଭଳିଆ ବୁଝିଲେ କି ପାତଳୁଙ୍ଗି ଗୁଡ଼ା। He wore a big turban and loose fitting clothes. His long white beard covered the best part of his chest. Okay? His long white beard covered the best part of his chest. This man, grandfather, you know pretty well, Punjabi people, they have a heavy beard, mustache, जोरदार दाढ़ी थी so the beard of my grandfather covered the best part of his chest. छातीर अधा अंश कवर कर तार अच्छा लिखा है his long white beard was white not black, very old man. His long white beard covered the best part of his chest and he looked at least 100 years old. बुढ़ा फोटो देखा लगे मेरी माँ को सोए he looked as if at least 100 years old. He did not look the sort of person who would have a wife or children. He did not look the sort of person who would have a wife or children. मैंने बुढ़ा एमती देखा जाऊला इतने बुढ़ा ये था जोड़ा पूछा कौन कहला he did not look the sort of person sort of means kind of he is such a kind of man बुझला sort of he is such a sort of man जोड़ा था who would have a wife. He did not look the sort of a person who would have a wife or children. एमती देखा जाऊला लागुला तार स्त्री छुआ पिला कहीं न थियो तार कौन थो या विश्वास रे खुशवंत सिंह नजर रे तार स्त्री छुआ पिला न थियो या खाली पूजा नाते नातुणी थो अरे मूर्ख स्त्री छुआ पिला न थियो ना तार बोले सेटा से बुझुनी से बुझी आपको जेतिके बयस लागुची या खाली मचा नाते नातुणी थो एचे स्त्री छुआ पिला अच्छा देखो he looked as if he did not look the sort of person who would have a wife or children. He looked as if he could only have lots and lots of grandchildren. So he looked as if he could only have lots and lots, many grandchildren. As for my grandmother, being young and pretty, the thought was almost revolting. My grandmother was young and pretty. This thought created a revolt in my mind. It was revolting. Revolt means विद्रोह. ये कथा ना बहुत सब विद्रोह सृष्टि कर पूरी young थिला तार में husband थिला. It created a revolt in my mind. It was revolting. The thought was almost revolting. She often told us of the games she used to play as a child. She often told us of the games. This lady, very often, but sometimes she told me for us the games she used to play when she was a child. बुढ़िया तो स्कूल बाजी होइतला यंग माने चाइल्ड होइतला सेतले कोन सब खेलुतला खेल कोन करतला सेगुला सब हम प्रकार से कहे नहीं games she used to play as a child. That seemed quite absurd. Say कथा बुढ़ी कहले ना केमती गादे कहलो that seemed quite absurd. Absurd means कौन दे irrational हां irrational nonsense पता ना भल लागे ना हैला and not logical illogical है एटा not logical लागे ये बुढ़ी कहछ दादा मो यंग ने कुछ खेलतली कि आ कोन पिला है एटा कोन खेल करबो या खेल करबो हेची तो जेहेतु खुशवंत सिंह had not seen the childhood days of this lady, so it was very difficult for him to believe all this. It seemed quite absurd and undignified. Hey, बुढ़ी पुच्ची खेलतला, this is undignified on our part, and we treated it. ताका प्रोग्राम को लागे केमती we treated it like the fables Fables are just story. Like the fables stories, like the fables of the prophets. She used to tell us. Prophets, P-R-O-P-H-E-T-S, prophets, saints, साधु साधु माने कहानी बोला भले लागुच हमको पूरी कथा सुनने लगे as if a sadhu is telling something before us. Her stories seem absurd, not logical, right? As if we are listening to the stories from a prophet. She had always been sought. This lady had always been sought. A lady somebody. She had always been sought, Bangruda. She had always been sought and fat, motivated, and slightly bent. The lady was slightly bent. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles. Her face was a, if one looks at the face of the lady, face of this old woman, one can find crisscross. Chaka chaka in people it was wrinkles in the crisscross of wrinkles. She had always been short and fat and slightly bent. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles, running from everywhere to everywhere. These lines are running. These lines are running from everywhere to everywhere. Right? No, we are certain she had always been, as we had known her. She had always been the same. No change in her. But no change in her appearance. She had always been the same. Old, so terribly old. The lady was so terribly old that she could not have grown older and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. Is it? Old, so terribly old. इतने भयंकर बुढ़ा जैसे क्योंकि बुढ़ी जैसे she so terribly old that she could not have grown older. सब जब तारा बुढ़ी होगा नहीं उड़ा saturation point रे पहुंची बुझ पारोने बुढ़ी एमती उड़ा पहुंचे जीव she could not have grown older. आगो को बुढ़ी होगा नहीं that sustain that no change at all and had stayed at the same age. How say saturation point रे पहुंची she had stayed at the same age for 20 years now. आज को कुड़िया वो सही बात है and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. She could never have been pretty. She could never have been pretty. What does it mean? She could never have been pretty. She television attractive enough, but she was always beautiful. She hobbled about. She hobbled about. Hobbled means unsteady walk. Unsteady. बुढ़ी लोग आगे चाली कौन तुम चाली में आओगी एमती की तो गई जो कि अपन सब उठे जाओ तो that is unsteady walk में. She hobbled about the house in spotless white. The lady walked about in spotless white with one hand resting on her waist. बुढ़ी सब लोग चाहती हो घर में in spotless white साड़ी इधर से मगर तब her husband is dead, so she is a widow. She always put on a white dress. So she was always in white, right? And hobbled about in the room in spotless white with one hand on her waist. Hello? गोटे हाथ में अंटारे धरी बुढ़ी झुकी के चली गोटे हाथ अंटारे आ गोटे कौन करता है गोटे को धरिके ना जप्पा मारी देख so terribly old that she could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. She hobbled about the house in spotless white with one hand resting on her waist. To balance her stoop, to balance her stoop, तार bending position टाको balance करिया होय ना इरा का खाई छी ठीक है to bend her stoop to balance her stoop মানে bend. And the other hand, how good hato, telling the beads of her rosary. Sure. And the other hand, how good hato, telling, মানে counting the beads, B-E-A-D-S, body brass, balls. Hello? Ball brass, rosary, mala. R-O-S-A-R-Y. Beads of her rosary. এটা মারা আছে, মারা, মৌরিয়া লিখুন। ঠিক আছে? The beads of her rosary. Her জপা মারি না, মারা মানে জপা মারি। এইয়া কইব, মারা মানে বর্ণ মারা নয়। তারপরে her silver locks were scattered unduly. Her silver locks, the lady had a lock of hair. তার কাছে হচ্ছে, তার কাছে চুচি দিয়েছি। That was silvery in the color. And তার কোনো সিলভার কালার মানে হোয়াইট ইজ। আচ্ছা, her silver locks were scattered. বিক্ষিপ্ত হয়ে চুচি পড়ে যায়। Untidy, অসজড়া, uncombed, কম মানে পানি। তারাও চুচি পুড়ে হয়ে খান্ডিয়া খান্ডিয়া হয়ে গেল, আমি চুচি পুড়ে গেল, বুঝলে কি? আচ্ছা, her silver locks were scattered untidily over her pale, puckered face. So the face of the lady was pale and puckered. ফিকা পড়ে যাইতো, pale মানে ফিকা। তার মুখটা ব্রাইট দেখা যাচ্ছে না, তেমন pale face, puckered face, spotted face, spot দাগো দাগো সব হচ্ছে, বুঝছেন? তেমন pale, puckered face উপরে চুটি উড়া খালি অসজড়া হয়ে বলুথিব, বুঝতে পারো নাই? কোশ্চেন হচ্ছে সেই কেমতি তার বডিকে কেমতি ডেসক্রাইব করা হয়েছে, তার অ্যাপিয়ারেন্স। আচ্ছা, her silver locks were scattered untidily over her pale, puckered face, and her lips, আদা উঠো, লিপস্টিক মারতে হবে। আচ্ছা, কোন করবো? puckered হচ্ছে spotted, and her lips, উঠো না, উঠো লিপস্টিক মারছি, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer, বুঝলা? and her lips, আদা উঠোটা, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. কোনটা মানে? her lips constantly, বুঝলা না? এমনি মুভ করছে always, constantly, all the time her two lips were moving because she was taking the names of God, she was praying to God. মালি ধরছে, বুঝলা না? inaudible prayer, the prayer কোন কইছে সেটা, that is not audible to anybody, family members কে শুনি পারান্দরে পড়ি কোন কইছে কিন্তু বলে কোন কথা নাই, মানে she was praying to God, she was taking the names of God 100 times, বুঝছেন? and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. Yes, she was beautiful, she was like the winter landscape in the mountains. This lady was beautiful, Santa Gambhira, she was like the winter landscape in the mountains. পাহাড় উপরে নাকি সীতা দেবী আছে, সীতা দেবী শান্ত গম্ভীর শীতল দেবী দেখায়, the lady looks like that, an expanse of pure white serenity. The lady looks like an expanse, a long stretch of land with pure white serenity, breathing, lady को देखले सेमती लागे सबरे white ଆଉ very pure, lady was very pure, पवित्र लड़का, breathing peace and contentment, शांति संतोषर निश्वास, विरक्ति भावना नहीं, रागवता पाखे नहीं, गाय दबार नहीं, she is breathing, सुब्रत हो जाता है, she is breathing peace and contentment, contentment, मानचा satisfaction, contentment, ऐसा satisfaction, संतोष, peace और शांति, शांति संतोषर निश्वास तापाके इतना नाटो आसे. She was never angry, she was never upset, always very calm, always very cool, right? Looks like an expanse, a winter landscape of the mountain, an expanse. अब चला इंदौर शीतलनिया पहाड़ पर चले तो कितने शांत तो शीतल और शीतल नजारा, looks very nice. Similarly, जब lady को चाहिए one can get a feeling of serenity, स्निग्धता, शीतलता, मुझे लगे one can feel such a serene feeling comes within the mind of a person when one looks at this old lady. Right? The lady was religious. The lady was religious. The lady was very pure. The lady was sacred, pavitra. And one cannot find a feeling by a mark of irritation, anger on her face. She was always in white. Therefore, she looks like the winter landscape in the mountains. She looks like an expanse of pure white serenity, calmness, breathing peace and contentment. Such a wonderful lady. So the first unit is over here, and in the first unit we come to know about both the grandfather and the grandmother. We came to know more about the grandmother, but at the same time we also came to know something about the grandfather of Khushwant Singh. Both of them are very fine, but the ladies, we are told much about the lady, about this grandmother, but grandfather was also, we found a portrait of the grandfather who looked at least 100 years old, having a heavy beard which covered the most part of his chest, right? So that master question we should achieve that very well. That's so छोटा समझे आंसर बड़ा नहीं. अच्छा. Next, second unit. Second unit important. चिन्ह दे दो. Very easy to understand. My grandmother and I means Khushwant Singh himself. My grandmother and I are good friends. I mean, we were good friends. My parents left me. Khushwant Singh said, my parents left me. Parents तो छाड़े पड़े ना समय टाउन में रोते बाप माँ टाउन में रोते My parents left me with this grandmother when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. The grandmother and the grandson, both of them were living constantly together in the village. Parents went to the city for settlement. Said my parents left me with her when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. She used to wake me up in the morning. She used to wake me up in the morning. She used to wake me up in the morning. सकाळे मध्ये से कौन करे उठे देते बड़ी शब्द सकाळे very this is the routine work of the lady. Every early morning she wakes me up. The lady wakes me up, get me ready for school. तापर मते स्कूल जीवा पाई रेडी करे. Right? That was the duty, that was the regular routine duty of this lady. Get me ready for school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous sing song, and the lady said her morning prayer in a monotonous sing song while she bathed and dressed me. बुढ़ी मत सकाळ उठी कोन करो स्कूल जीवा पे रेडी करेबो मते पेंट पिंधेबो मते गाधेबो तेल लगेबो कि जा जो काम सब पिला को करा जाय सेला सब करथला आ ए काम करथबो से समय से मॉर्निंग प्रेयर का से समय ए काम करथबा अवस्था काहे in the hope that this little grandson will listen to her prayer and he will get it by heart. तार भी सब उधर कथा सुन ले बुझतो है ना बुझेला. So the lady had a noble intention. The lady had a good idea that this grandson should learn what I pray, what I say in the morning. Meaning she was checking the name of God, she was praying to God. Maybe it was a religious or a holy song. चलो ना किसी को सीखो सब दिन एमती करके तो सीखिए हेली एक टोका करे मुगना सीखो ना मुझसे बोल देखो. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous sing song. Monotonous माने boring, not very. बुढ़ी से तो लाल भले की स्वर करके करना था बुझे ना. In a monotonous sing song, in a dull monotonous sing song, while she bathed and dressed me in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. मुंह से देखो सुनी भी ताकि तो and get to know it. तापर तक जाने दिए by heart. वो कष्ट है वो बोले by heart है ये आसारे बुरी करे. I listened. ଶୁଣୁଥିଲି because I loved her voice. ବୁଢ଼ୀର ଭଏସଟା ମୋତେ ଭଲ ଲାଗେ, so I listened, but never bothered to learn it, but never cared to get it by heart. ମୁଁ ଖାତିର କରେନି, ଏଇଟା ମୋ ମନେ ରହିଲା କି ନାହିଁ. I listened to the voice, I listened to the song because the voice of the lady was very pleasing. ମୋତେ ବୁଢ଼ୀର କଥାଟା ଶୁଣିବାକୁ ଭଲ ଲାଗେ. That is why I listened, but I never bothered. I did not care. Never bothered to learn it. Then she would fetch my wooden slate. Then she would fetch my wooden slate. ତାପରେ ସେ କ'ଣ କରିବ? Then she would fetch my ମାନେ ଛୁଆ FETCH go and bring. Go and bring. ଯିବା ଯାଇକି ଆଣିବା. Then she would fetch my wooden slate. ମୁଁ ତାପରେ ଯିବ ମୋର wooden slate ଟା ନେଇ କାଠର slate. ଆମେ ସବୁ ମାଟି slate କରିଦେବୁ ନା କୋଉଠି ହଁ ହେଲା କି ମାଟି ଗଲା ଆଜିକାଲି ସବୁ ଆଉ କ'ଣ ବାହାର ଖାଇବା ଖାଇଲେ ଆମେ ପାଟିରେ ପଡ଼ିଥିଲେ ମାଟି slate ପଡ଼ିଗଲା ନା ସେ ଭଙ୍ଗାଟା ବି ଦେନ୍ତି ସେ ଭଳିଆ କାଢ଼ିଦେବେ ଆଚ୍ଛା ହଁ ତେଣୁ ସେମିତି ଥିଲା ତେଣୁ ୟା slate କ'ଣ ଥିଲା it was made of ପୁରା ପଟାଟା ହେଇଛି so my grandmother would go and bring the wooden slate which she had already washed and plastered, which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk. Which she had already plastered, washed and plastered. Se slate kota kalu kon kotho na dhoi deithibo tapare plaster kore proleko madhyam ha ink pot कागज थाए जो कागज हम स्कूल लेके जाउथाउ से कागज तो पड़ी जो पकाई बन ता ठिपी बोली किछ न थाए से बात रे ठिपी बोली किछ नाही बुझ पाल ता तळे वस्तु देख न खाऊ ए उठी गला का तोला जाला से जेंति जो काली ढाई गई इंटरेस्टिंग कथा ना बुझले ने से दुआ कड़ा एमति कर दे तापर एटा एमती अछि एटा एमती अछि एई पटे पेनटा पसेला काली बेसी दिया जीवन पर पड़ दिया जीवन उठे दिन में जेती दरकार एटा बॉडी गले धरो ना ना बॉडी गले ए केला रहि जाउची ए पटे रहि जाउची ए पटे रहि जाउची ना बुझ पानु छी ना बुझा तेनो एक प्रकार का यात्रा था अच्छा जा छाड़ Here the old lady would bring for me my wooden slate and a teeny earthen matti ro kaiga earthen it is the matti here earthen ink pot and a reed pen kathi koloni kathi maybe moyo kathi kon and a reed pen tie them all sura सब बड़ी बांध देला मते चल tie them all in a bundle and hand it to me. Mate bandhala tie them all and gave the bundle to me. After a breakfast, we had a breakfast. After a breakfast of a thick, stale chapati. After a breakfast, and that was a breakfast of chapati, not fresh chapati, stale chapati. Bas. काला से जो है ना बुझिले कि चल स्टेम तार अपोजिट होची फ्रेश तार अपोजिट है फ्रेश स्टेम STAM माने बस अपोजिट होची फ्रेश नॉट फ्रेश तो अंडर की स्टेम माने नॉट फ्रेश आफ्टर द ब्रेकफास्ट ऑफ a thick stale chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it ता माने परोटा तापर टिके बटर और सुगर चीनी दिया स्प्रेड कराई से कांदा जो होइतरा चार चार दिबो खाई दिबो से हमें खाई दलु देन वी वेंट टू स्कूल द ग्रैंडमदर आल्सो वेंट विथ मी ऐसे काई स्कूल करा ना देखि मंदिर जोटा मंदिर से का कक्षानी से नना पढ़ाई से इदे तो हम हो जाइतो ना After the breakfast of a thick stale chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it, we went to school. She carried several stale chapatis. The old lady also carried several stale chapatis. Stale?
बस
से बासी चपाटी बुढ़ी स्कूल को तो मो गली मो हाथ रहला बस्तानी माने स्लैब खाई जाते बासी धरली मु चलली बुढ़ी किछ धरे कोन कहियो द स्टेल चपाटी जो था बुढ़ी साथे नहीं मंदिर में बसी खाई होता ना कोन के जाने she carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs गां कुकुर मान को पाई नहीं था बुढ़ी किछ साथे my grandmother always went to school with me, right? My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. Grandmother went to the temple, I went to school. So the school and the temple together, right? My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. The priest taught us. The priest taught us the alphabet and the morning prayer. The priest taught us the alphabet and the morning prayer. Priest कौन करे? The priest taught us the alphabet. यहाँ का टीचर की कहाँ है? चार साल का टीचर. The priest of the temple. मंदिर का पुरोहित जी. The priest of the temple was the teacher. He taught us the alphabet and the morning prayer. से हमको alphabet को हर्ष दुबे अल्लाह सब सिखाए. And the morning prayer also. So what was our education? Our education was alphabets, right? And the morning prayer. The priest of the temple taught all these things to us. While the children sat in rows, the children were sitting in a row. Dhadi करके फिर आता row माने धाड़ी, you know. While the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda, singing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus. So the children were singing the alphabet. देखिए जो डांस को जो छापे को लगाते ओ छुली की पूरा नहीं मैंने फोटो का जो देखिए जो डांस सब हिंदी करते हैं और तो देखिए फोटो सपोर्ट को झूली जाओ तो कौन नहीं लंबे की समझ चलेंगे ठीक है अच्छा. So while the children were sitting on the veranda singing the alphabet or the prayer, the children were also singing the prayer in a chorus, samaveta sangita. मिलित भाव से समाज गीत गाते हैं. In a collective chorus होते हैं ना, in a collective manner they were singing the morning prayer. At that time my grandmother said to me, "Jajman कौन था? We were singing the alphabet, we were singing the morning prayer." And my grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. At that time, my grandmother was within the temple. She was sitting within the temple and reading the scriptures. Scriptures, you know, holy books. She was reading the holy books. Scriptures. My grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. When we had both finished, we would walk back together. When, see, the prayer of the lady is over, my lesson is also over. Senara Patakaramar says. So when everything is over, we would walk back. I mean, not to pay. We would walk back together. This time, the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. I mean, the village dogs would meet us. This time the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. They followed us to our home. These dogs, they followed us to our home. Right? They followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other. Yes, they were growling. Growling and fighting among themselves for the chapatis we threw to them. खाइबा फाइटिंग करके आम घर घर जाते से yes they followed us to our home growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw them the chapatis, right, and they were growling and fighting. When my parents were settled, ଯେତେବେଳେ parents are କୋଉଠି when my parents were comfortably settled in the city, my parents they were in the city, they were settled. Presently our building work is over, settlement is over. They sent for us. ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ଡକେଇ ପଠେଇଲେ ଆସ ତୁମ ଗାଁରେ ଗଲେ ପଳେଇ ଆସ. That was a turning point in our friendship. That there came a turning point in our friendship. So there was a good intimate friendship, relationship between the grandmother and the grandson. Both of them were staying together in the village, right? The grandmother was a very good company to this child, grandson, right? She walked with him to the school. Sang jautala, taku gadoutala, taku tala, taku sab sikhutala itali. But when both of them came to the city, there came a turning point in their relationship. Tanka samparkare utke modo परिवर्तन हे गला. कोण है कि ये तो का सहर पास की बड़ी छाटा ना comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. That was a turning point in our friendship. Although we shared the same room, ना टाउन में भी आपको बुढ़ी को पते कोटे रूम दिया है. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. मुझे इस बार मसाले स्कूल गया कहीं के बुढ़ी रास्ता पाई बनी. से स्कूल बॉस आस के जाता बॉस बुढ़ी कहीं ना चला नहीं. अच्छा. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. अच्छी. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. मुझे जाते थे English medium school को, and in a motor bus there were no dogs in the streets. then कुकुर भी नहीं खुले and she took to feeding. So this old lady was feeding sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. The lady was feeding the sparrows. घर चटिया पक्षी बड़ा को सब खाई रखो उतला in our courtyard of the city house. टाउन जो घर अच्छी सामने पक्षी आसी बहुत पहुंचते घर चटिया. My grandmother used to feed them and we had them. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. As the years rolled by, माने बड़ी गला. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. The meeting between grandmother and the grandson became less. अब तो देखा सेकंड के कम है. For some time, she continued to wake me up. For some time, she continued to wake me up. चुना क्लास से मोची आउ देखी छी मु देखी सारची है ना देखी छी मु देखी सारची आउ के क्लास से मोची ना हसरा के साथ बता दो अच्छा. For some time, she continued to wake me up. अच्छा शहर को गला पर एक बड़ी मो शहर में रहिलो किछ दिन प्रथम किछ दिन बड़ी कण कला गां जो काम करथला माने सकाळ उठेबा गाधेबा इनला सब कला. For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. When I came back, when I returned from school चली गई बस में. When I came back, she would ask me, बच्चा कौन सब पढ़ा रे तोरो it's the country school मंदिर में कौन पढ़ाता है इठी पचाइयो. She would ask me what the teacher had taught me. I would tell her some English words. बड़ी कुछ English words सुनाइए. I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning. I would also tell the old lady something of Western science, पाश्चात्य विज्ञान, पाश्चात्य शिक्षा. एक हम किसी सीखे बड़ी कुछ सुनाइए. अब कौन हुए the law of gravity माध्याकर्षण नियम बड़ी को सुनाई. Archimedes principle, the world being round. जजमान जाने चला नहीं पृथ्वी होची गोल. Archimedes' principle, law of gravitation. These things I narrated before this lady. This made her unhappy. This made her unhappy. এটা শুনলা পরে বড়ি বড়ি ভালো লাগে এই গায়ে পড়ছি কোন This made her unhappy. She could not help me with my lessons. Now the grandmother is not able to help me in my lessons. Settle class का मतलब alphabet सब बड़ी help करता है पाठ पढ़ाने. But here the old lady is not able to help this grandson because of the English learning, right? Because of this Western science and other things. She did not believe in the things they taught at the English school. The lady, this old lady, grandmother, did not believe in the things they taught at the English school. माने English school जो पाठ पढ़ा होता ना पूरी चीज़ मन लाइन से पढ़ा and was distressed. The lady was disappointed. The lady was very sad, distressed, sad, unhappy. The lady was unhappy that there was no teaching about God. अभी तो स्कूल में कोई भगवान का कथा ठीक किसी पढ़ाओ नहीं, शास्त्र किसी ठीक पढ़ाओ नहीं, and was distressed that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. Scriptures in the holy books. पुराना कथा भगवान का कथा ठीक किसी नहीं. One day I announced that. One particular day I announced that we are being given music lessons. अच्छा दिन में कहले बड़ी बात है जजमा जानते हो ना हम स्कूल में नाच गीत भी हुए वो सिखा जाए है one day I announced that we are being given music lessons. She was very disturbed. इसके सुनने लगा पर ना the lady was very much disturbed. भारी दाम विब्रत है to her माने according to the lady to her music had lewd associations. According to the lady, music, dance, all these have lewd association. Lewd means vulgar association. Vulgar means bad. अच्छा ये नाचो गीतो कौन these are bad things. Vulgar things. कौन हाँ vulgar lewd association. सुन बुढ़ी बेचारे कौन जाचो जो उठी जो स्कूल कितो नाचो ये सब चलना all these things are associated with vulgar things meaning ताकले लिखा है देखो it was the monopoly माने ये जो singing song it was the monopoly of harlots and beggars not meant for gentle folk. These are not the work of the gentleman. Dance, singing, dance and song, these are not the activities of the gentleman. बहुत लोग मानकर कथा का नहीं, इन्हें कहा होता, these are the monopoly. This is the single business monopoly of harlots and beggars. Beggars सुनो, और harlot. सब एक कोई harlot, HARLOT. ना, और सुनो, harlot लोग बेस्या prostitute है ना prostitute prostitute बूढ़ी बेचारे एगुड़ा सब बेस्या करते जो मैंने करती ना से मैंने कर काम विभिन्न प्रकार गीत गाई अगभंगी करी नाच कस्टमर मान को तांको आड़ आकृष्ट करती पैसा रोजगार करबा ପାଇଁ तेणु these are এটা তো বুঝিবা this is the opinion of the lady. To her music had lewd associations. It was the monopoly of harlots and beggars and not meant for. These things are not for the gentleman, gentle folk. Folk means people, gentle people. She said nothing. बुढ़ी किसी बोला छोटा वाला नष्ट हो गया ना किधर स्कूल जाओ क्या कुछ नहीं. There is no teachings about God, no teachings of scriptures. Music, dance, all these things are going on there. My son has gone astray. So my grandson has gone astray. She said nothing. बुढ़िया कुछ कहला. But her silence meant बुढ़िया निरवता अर्थ disapproval. बुढ़िया टा को नापसंद होची. This kind of education, the old lady, grandmother did not approve it. Disapproval. Silence meant disapproval. She rarely talked to me after that. How said this old lady rarely is a negative word. Talked to me. Did not she rarely talked to me after that. When I went up to university, When I went up to university, ମୁଁ ଚାଲିଗଲି ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟି ପଢ଼ିବା ପାଇଁ। I was given a room of my own, ଘରେ ମୋତେ ସେପାରେଟ୍ ରୁମ୍ ଦେଇ ଦିଆଗଲା। ହେଇଛି ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟି ମାନେ କଲେଜ ପାଠ ପଢ଼ିବା ପାଇଁ ଗଲି। I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped. Now the common link of friendship between the grandmother and the grandson, that is cut off. The link is cut off. My grandmother accepted her seclusion. My grandmother accepted her loneliness. My grandmother became lonely. So seclusion, SECLUSION, seclusion means lonely. Loneliness. My grandmother तार निरवता निर्जनता को ग्रहण करला मते निर्जन भावे एकुटिया रहबा को पड़िबो now the grandson is not with me so my grandmother accepted her loneliness with resignation here means sadness दुखर सहित my grandmother accepted her loneliness she rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone so most of the time the lady was found sitting at the spinning wheel बहुत सब समय पढ़ी अवस्था she was lonely nobody was talking to him she had no time to talk to anybody most of the time she was found sitting at the spinning wheel जो है सूता कटा जो चक्की अरट बिल्कुल से अरट भाई ताको स्पिनिंग व्हील बुझेला मुड़ी से स्पिनिंग व्हील ताको सब बड़े बच्चे सेटो उठी आसे ना का संगे कथा न देखो देखाई she rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone rarely left means she did not leave there is a negative one से चक्की छाड़े नहीं का आसे from sunrise to sunset she sat by her wheel spinning and reciting prayers all the time from the early morning to sunset she was sitting at the spinning wheel right and what was she doing there spinning sutta katha and reciting prayer singing the song of prayer song taking the name of God I have told you she was a religious lady she was sitting silently nobody was with her she was lonely there most of the time she was found busy spinning and reciting prayers only in the afternoon khali upgrodi hegale tike she relaxed for a while kich samay pai relax ho jaye chaki suta kata orot chali ase to feed the sparrows keblo se sparrow mane khaiba ko daba lagi she came there to feed the sparrows while she sat in the veranda while this lady sat in the veranda budi kon kalo khaiba ko daba lagi veranda re basi gala asiki ruti guda ko सब टुकड़ा kori pakebo बुझ पाले while she sat in the veranda breaking the bread into little bits breaking the bread into little bits से कौन करे रोटी गुड़ा को सब made it little bits breaking the bread into little bits hundreds of little birds collected round her by the time many sparrows hundreds of little birds came round her collected round her creating a veritable bedlam of chirping so those birds created a confusing noise okay mana utare ganti nahi so hata confusing पहले लिखाई जाता है veritable bedlam of chirping तार meaning होची a genuine scene of noise or confusion caused by the chirping of the sparrows हैला तेणु sparrow मानकर जो किचरी शब्द किचरी कर अछि creating a veritable bedlam of chirpings some came and perched on her legs some birds came and perched sat on her legs ता गोड़ो प्रेस बसले तापरे others on her shoulders किछ ऐसे कांधे बस जाए some even sat on her head how कुछ को ता मुंडरे बस जाए she smiled the old lady smiled but never showed them away never drove them away hey jack empty के करे she never removed them drove them away it used to be the happiest half hour for the day for her. So that half an hour, you see that was the happiest hour for the lady. Otherwise, always remains, always stays in a lonely manner. Nobody was with her, nobody was talking to her. She was also not talking to anybody. Most of the time she was found sitting at the spinning wheel, busy reciting the prayer. Grandmother, the common relationship between the grandmother and the grandson is already cut off. That relationship is snapped, right? And the grandson is now going to university. University path padhiya pai se chali jaye. When he comes, he stays in her room. Now he is a grown-up boy. He is given a separate room of his own, right? So the relationship between the grandmother and the grandson is cut off. The lady lives a secluded life, lives in seclusion. Most of the time she was found sitting at the spinning wheel and reciting the prayers, right? One more unit, take a body unit. Basically, it will be over one period. What a period. Now, this is a very simple topic. From what you will get questions from this topic. This is very simple. So you prepare the answers of it. That questions would have time voucher. You prepare the answers. So that will find out the answers prepared. The answers must not be too long, 2 or 3 sentences, 1 sentence or 2 sentences or 3 sentences, not more than that. Right? So this topic will be over. Approach किसी पढ़ाई में conclusion. So this topic will be over. Then we will proceed to another topic. My greatest topic. So this is the second topic. One more topic is there. Right?